Hi, welcome back. We're midway through tonight's Group 10 action, and it took Ronnie O'Sullivan only 41 minutes to remind us of his precocious talent, seeing off Kishan Hirani 3-0 and opening with a break of 112. His most likely challenger in the group, Chris Wakelin, notched up a break of 119 in his 3-0 win over Michael Georgiou and has just had to settle for a point in his marathon match with Hirani. So, Wakelin has 4 points from his 2 matches. He tops the group, and if Ronnie dispatches Michael Georgiou, then that deciding match will follow as he then takes on Wakelin in our penultimate head-to-head. I'm joined by Stephen Hendry and Neil Foulds. I have to say, fellas, I'm very glad that I upgraded my chair to a more comfortable variety after that marathon match we've just witnessed. But let's not talk about that just yet, Stephen. Let's reflect on that 41-minute match, the 41-minute appearance from Ronnie O'Sullivan, sporting a splendid moustache modelled on Willie Thorne by the look of it, Stephen.
Yeah, a different look from Ronnie in this event, but he looked as if he'd never ended the season. He kicked off doing what Ronnie does, making century breaks, cue ball on a string, normal service resumed.
Yeah, Neil, he looked very impressive, and it's interesting sometimes with Ronnie. He doesn't play a lot of big, if you like, qualifying rounds. Sometimes he can be quite critical about playing players really well down the rankings, and sometimes you wonder just how much he concentrates when he comes into an environment like this.
Yeah, and he's got this sort of thing where he doesn't play in leisure centres to qualify for venues. He feels that he's above that maybe, and I think the reason for that is he played over in Shanghai, won that event. It's a lucrative event on and off the table for him. Does off the table promotions. He gets treated like royalty. He doesn't really want to come back to Barnsley and play in a leisure centre to qualify for the German Masters and the Austrian Open. Rightly or wrongly, that's where he is. I mean, he's coming up 45. He can probably do what he likes. But as a consequence, his season has never really taken off. But here he is at the Championship League, so you never really know where you stand. I mean, Ronnie didn't play in the Masters, but he played in the shootout. So he's a difficult bloke to second guess,
I wouldn't have said a word said against Barnsley. Stephen, let's take a look at some of Ronnie's shots then from that opening match, because as you said, it looked like he'd never been away from the table.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be frank and say when Ronnie's at the table, the other 3, players in the group, it's kind of like Champions League versus, non-league, the way he plays. I mean, you just watch the way he moves the cue ball around the table. I mean, it's just effortless stuff, and this is bread and butter to Ronnie, that this sort of positional play. I mean, he's just floating around the table, potting balls. That's what he does. A beautiful little cannon here, using the pink. He's got a little touch of left-hand side in the cue ball, just goes up for the red. Absolutely perfect position. He's the only player, that we're watching today in this group that's doing this kind of thing. He's out of the other 3's league. I mean, to be blunt, and he should sail through this group. But there's another one. These are tough shots when you're in the middle of a season and sharp, but he just hits it like a dream. Okay, he's not under any pressure, makes the shot a lot easier. But it's just great to see Snooker played that way. He is an artist with a cue ball.
He is indeed. And his biggest challenge is going to come from Wakelin, Neil. Never mind that 2-hour match we saw, which was kind of sleeves rolled up, get on with it job. Let's look back at his earlier match where he got that wonderful break of 119.
Yeah, Chris Wakelin's a pretty good player. I think he plays the game in the right way. We've seen O'Sullivan. We're not comparing too many people in the game to O'Sullivan, are we? So Chris Wakelin is just doing his own thing, goes into the bunch very nicely. He's an orthodox player, I would say. And he's a good player, and he can make things difficult for O'Sullivan. And I think the match when they play each other will be important, and more so this break. Now, Wakelin knows that the high break in the group is almost worth an extra point if it gets very tight, and it still could. And basically the instruction is pot all the balls until there's none left on the table, and you might end up getting through the group if things get a little bit tight. He's got to play O'Sullivan. That's the big match. I think we all know that.
OK, we'll leave it there for the moment because we're going to get back to the action coming up on the other side of the break. Ronnie O'Sullivan is back in action for his second group game. Up next for the Rocket is Michael Georgiou. Welcome back. A reminder of events over on Table 2. Group 15 is in action and Robert Milkins kicked off with a 3-0 win over Mike Dunn. Top seed Tom Ford hasn't dropped a frame with wins over Ian Burns and then Mike Dunn, finishing that 3-0 victory with a break of 130. So it's likely to be between Milkins and Ford for a place in the last 16. And on our feature table, Table 1, Chris Wakeland tops the group, having played 2 matches. He notched up a win and a draw. He'll play Ronnie in our penultimate match in what looks like being a decider for the group. So we're ready to get the live snooker back underway at the Marshall Arena in Milton Keynes. Our 4th match sees Ronnie taking on Michael Georgiou. O'Sullivan beat the 2018 shootout champion en route to winning the UK Championship for a 6th time. That was back in 2017. And the Rocket has never lost to the world number 63 in any of their 3 previous meetings. Your commentators for this one, Dominic Dale and Phil Yates.
Thank you very much, Jill. Yeah, Ronnie O'Sullivan, dominant in his meetings with Georgiou in the past. You're quite right, 3-0 ahead in the head-to-heads.
Thank you.
And by a frame total of 16-3. 2 6-1s and a 4-1 before this. So Georgiou, a distinct second favourite. Another negative for Georgiou, of course, is the way he played in the first match this afternoon. That won't have emboldened him in any way, won't have increased his confidence.
No, you'd expect him to have to play significantly better to compete with the abilities of Ronnie O'Sullivan. Good effort that from Ronnie. Powered it in, managed to find a good gap with the cue ball to return the cue ball to safety. Be interested to see what style of play Michael Georgiou adopts here, whether he'll take the game to Ronnie by playing rather aggressively. That's worked out well. Don't think Ronnie can get past the green to the red to right centre, so he's in a spot of difficulty here. Certainly no return to baulk that I can see, especially with that red near the middle pocket. So I think he may be taking this one on. No, just to contain his safety. No value in the red because he couldn't possibly have got on a colour. Yes, we saw you, Ronnie, on your mobile phone there. I commentated on his initial match in this group. I thought the bedcloth was a little slow, but I don't think that now. It seems to be quicker to me, but I don't think the cushions are particularly fast, which isn't a bad thing for the players. It helps you to control the cue ball.
One of the most remarkable things about O'Sullivan is that in 28 years as a professional, I don't think I've ever heard him complain, well, certainly not publicly, about a table. Whether it's fast, slow, whatever, he seems to cope.
Well, you have to, don't you, really? If a table's not playing to your liking, there's nothing you can do about it. Just have to try and cope with the conditions better than your opponent does, I suppose. That wasn't the best safety shot from Michael Georgiou. This red's on into the yellow pocket for Ronnie, but it's got a bit of work to do with the cue balls to get on the colour. It's quite straight.
One.
Just made sure the red. Brown, of course, is available into the right-hand centre pocket, but positionally I don't think it offers a lot for him. He's looking at the yellow but much more difficult pot. So just rolling in behind it has to be the right shot, I feel.
Ronnie O'Sullivan,
I
1.
don't think he's got the snooker.
Yes, if you think about it, the roll in behind the ball colours should be quite simple, but on these fast match cloths, especially when the cue ball is close to the ball cushion, to get the white nestled in behind yellow, brown or green requires delicacy. It's a much tougher shot than it looks.
One.
What a fluke. Let me quickly tell you, another match is over on table number 2. Rob Milkins and Ian Burns played out a 2-all draw. That after Burns led 2-0. So Milkins now needs to beat Tom Ford in the next match to win the group. A draw for Ford will be sufficient.
Five.
A couple of handy little kisses there for Ronnie. Left him in decent position. He'll do his best to get that black into play, I think, as soon as possible. Playing this left-handedly.
Six.
I think this blue's still onto the right corner.
$11. 12.
Oh, what a terrific effort that was from Ronnie. Trying to rebound the
17.
cue off the top cushion. Just flick the black away from the red, which he did, but could have just done with catching the black a bit thinner on the right hand side. But he still thinks he can cut this in.
18.
Well, is he on a red to the right
23.
centre? If he is, could be in clover because he's just developed the pink. He's just having a look to see if that black will pot, so obviously that red's on.
$24. $30. $31. $37. $38.
He's done this throughout his illustrious career. Like all of the great players, got that ability to turn something into nothing, to transform a half chance into a frame-winning one.
45. 46.
There's just nobody better in the game really at deciding what shot to play during the course of a break. Ronnie O'Sullivan never makes the wrong decision, it
51.
seems.
52.
Don't know about you, Dominic, but he seems today to have the perfect combination of intensity and relaxation. Wanted to avoid that red, but he's okay.
One thing I
58.
have noticed in recent years about Ronnie, he seems a little more philosophical when he does suffer a defeat. And I think at one time he did.
59.
Well, he's certainly got nothing left to prove. And this
64.
frame has fallen by the wayside as far as Michael Georgiou is concerned.
65.
So the frame going for 10 minutes. That means with the amount he was engaged in his first match,
70.
O'Sullivan's won 4 frames in well under an hour.
71. 77. 78.
The obvious stumbling block between O'Sullivan and yet another century is the awkward last red. But he's dropped in pretty nicely behind it. Would have liked another inch or so on the cue ball, though. But stretching over
84.
somewhat, no issue whatsoever. Made that look preposterously easy.
$89. 91.
Chris Wakelin will be pleased to know he can't go past the 119 break that Wakelin made.
94.
Yeah, not in this frame anyway. He's a bit good, this young man.
98. 103.
'That's his 38th century this season
109.
from what is a very restricted, limited schedule. The class of Ronnie O'Sullivan has
116
descended on the
on the frame.
Marshall Arena in
Ronnie
Milton
O'Sullivan.
Keynes today, and boy, is he playing well. 1-0 up on Michael Georgiou. You think there's more to come? Michael Georgiou has an enviable task. He has to try and tame Ronnie O'Sullivan. That's never easy, but the way O'Sullivan's playing today, the task is
Okay, Ronnie.
all the more difficult.
Thank you. The second frame. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
Let me quickly tell you the group decider. Tom Ford against Rob Milkins is underway on the other table. We'll keep you informed about that one. But of course, as always, and quite rightly so, our full attention is on O'Sullivan.
Pretty decent safety shot there from Michael Georgiou. And that's a part of his game that's going to have to be perfect to cause trouble to Ronnie O'Sullivan. Oh, that's just incredible. Do you know, he plays that type of shot with effortless ease, and yet that cue ball must have screwed back about 5 feet. What a pot that was.
It takes a lot to genuinely impress fellow professionals, but that kind of shot
3.
most certainly does. Able to continue the previous
4.
break with a plant, and another one was there available for him.
Another look at this.
9.
Look at the action on that cue ball. But amazing thing, Ronnie's even able to do that on a cloth
10.
that may not be all that responsive. Just misjudged the thickness of the cannon to the pack of reds there. That's why the cue ball has gone into bulk, but the brown's still on here. When you're Michael Georgiou and you're
14.
sat in a chair and you're watching Ronnie attempt pot after pot from mid-range like this, you just think, well, surely he's going to have to miss one soon.
Ronnie O'Sullivan,
When
14.
he gets away with it as well, it doesn't help the cause.
No, Ronnie O'Sullivan plus luck equals unbeatable. That's an equation everyone knows. And he's had a little bit of run in this match, of course. Case in point there. Hard breaking for Georgiou.
I think the red that's next to the cue ball may well pop, but it's quite an awkward angle really. You'll be playing it from probably bulk with the rest. Getting good position may not be too easy either. Oh dear. Because of the proximity of the cue ball to the red there, you have to sort of jab them, and it's a timing shot, and he sort of decelerated. He was almost through the ball before he actually struck the cue ball, so just had no pace on it at all.
When you play that kind of shot on TV, it's embarrassing. Hence the head down. Oh dear, what have I done? What have I done? Blunder central.
Definite half chance here for Michael Georgiou. As Ronnie returns the rest to its rightful position there in that sort of rack. There's a red on here to the right corner. Can stand around the black spot area for a choice of probably green or brown. Oh, super shot.
1.
Actually held the white too well. Green and brown are no good to him, but the blue may be.
Six.
This was a super red from Michael Georgiou, and he played the blue well, but unfortunately I believe one red's covering the other here. That may well be end of break, unless he wishes to take on a ridiculous plant.
Michael Georgiou, 6.
O'Sullivan knew immediately he was going to be in trouble. Well before the cue ball had entered baulk, he anticipated this snooker. But with the Reds tightly bunched like that, it wasn't really an issue. Still played delicately and well, but the danger signs weren't there.
Michael Georgiou had been hoping for a touching ball there. Safety shot would have been a simple one, had it been.
With the red going towards the pocket, O'Sullivan needed cover, and he's got it in the form of the yellow, and for one specific ball, the black.
Yeah, big problems here for Michael Georgiou. I believe he's snookered on all reds. Just be very careful here not to leave something on. Thought he could hit the very thin edge of the red. It could be worth it because he may be able to just catch it so thinly that he could return the cue ball to baulk. Yeah, oh, well played. Could return the compliment here. Oh. Kiss on the brown just ruined it.
Yes, and I think the red will cut. I think he can get past the yellow. Confirmation. He played that with lots of side. But again, could have been a lot worse. I suppose, Dominic, you've been there in the heat of battle. When you're playing O'Sullivan, you're under pressure constantly because you know any mistake could be your last in the frame.
Yeah, very true, Phil, but I think to some degree create your own pressure. It just depends on your mindset going into a match with somebody like Ronnie O'Sullivan. If you go out there to enjoy it and compete. Because at the end of the day, none of these guys are invincible. You will get your chances. And if you take them, you may be able to put enough pressure on people like Ronnie O'Sullivan to cause a few more errors. You just have to do it. You just have to be good enough on the day to take the chances that you're given. And if you're not, you'll probably come off second best, of course.
I can tell you on table 2, Tom Ford has just lost his first frame of the day. Robert Milkins, who needs to win that match to top the group, leads Ford 1-0.
One.
Lovely pot, and how about the position? Almost inch perfect.
Michael Georgiou or Fairley could have played that one a bit better, much straighter on this next thread.
8.
Would have made life a lot easier, but he can still stand up for the blue. Oh, there you go, I'm afraid.
Michael
He'll know
Georgiou,
as well as we
8.
do here But you can't afford to miss those against O'Sullivan.
Yes, he's not showing his true colours, Michael Georgiou. He has made a 147 in professional competition at the Paul Hunter Classic a couple of years ago. Today, though, struggling to put 5 balls together.
One.
If rests could talk, Dominic, just imagine them chatting away. We're being used by Ronnie O'Sullivan today.
Seven. 8. 15. 16.
Tell you what, though, his position is so good that he really needs the rest. As always,
23.
Stephen Hendry cut to the chase.
24.
He's in a different league, this fellow.
He just does everything on instinct. He just knows the right shot to play and when to play
31.
it. Doesn't have to deliberate at all.
32.
And already in a very threatening position here in frame number 2. 31 points to lead already. So just a couple more reds and colours. Should see him home in this second frame.
38.
Didn't like that one, though. The white seemed to skid a little on him. OK, he's got a choice of 2 reds, but not quite as pinpoint with the position as normal. Trying to work out what he needs.
He's forgotten his abacus.
$39. 44.
Out of the habit of working this kind of thing out, clearly.
$45.
Georgiou looking forlorn. This is frame ball.
50. 51. $55. 56.
The ability to switch hands and play so effectively. It's wonderful. There's never been anyone quite like
60.
it.
61.
No, players actually, just for fun when you're young, tend to play the odd game left-handed, and that's how you develop your skill for it in many instances.
68.
He'd always
70.
played the odd shot left-handed in matches, but the first time he did it in a complete match was in the semi-finals of the old Matchroom League. Not too far away from here, actually, in
73.
Northamptonshire. He lost the first frame against Peter Ebden, playing conventionally, then went left-handed, breezed through the match,
77.
and then the following day beat Stephen Hendry in the final, not playing left-handed exclusively.
82.
But ever since, he's been quite prepared to play from both sides.
Ronnie O'Sullivan 82 and the frame.
Only 82 this time, adding to the break of 116 in the first frame. Ronnie O'Sullivan in cruise control, leading 2-0. One-way traffic. Plain sailing, call it what you will. But the man who's made 15 147 breaks and has earned over £11 million in total career prize money is playing beautifully today. Ronnie O'Sullivan. In his first match, he won 3-0 against Kishan Irani. Runs of 112, 52 and 65. He's picked up that thread in this contest. So far, breaks of 116 and 82. One more frame needed to win. Just to repeat, if O'Sullivan were to win this frame, then it would all be about the last match, which is coming up next for O'Sullivan, and the last match for Chris Wakelin. That will decide who tops the group.
Chris Wakelin's been playing some pretty good snooker in this group as well, so he could cause Ronnie O'Sullivan a problem or two, should he get the chances, of course. That's a good safety from Ronnie. Tricky cueing. Just it very well. Difficult to play a safety shot down the right half of the table from where Michael Georgiou is, but have to hit the end red very thinly. And this way, he's just got to watch that loose red near the left-hand side cushion. Played it well. See, even that's worked out for Ronnie. Caught that all wrong. But the red ricocheted off the top drawer of the middle pocket, back to safety. As it looked as though it would come back to bulk with the cue ball.
Yes, he's had more than his share of good fortune. Rubber the green here and there. It's like a multi-millionaire receiving a donation. Doesn't need it.
That's the difference with Ronnie's safety against the majority of players. Puts you in trouble nearly every time, but this red may be on for Michael Georgiou. Could be a gap back to bulk. Yeah, and he's found it. Well played. And now you always hope for a kiss on a bulk colour just to leave you on something, but didn't happen.
The elbow.
Tried to nestle in behind the yellow. Never easy.
Georgiou
He's done it
won.
well. Now, if the reds here were still tightly packed, wouldn't be any great shakes for O'Sullivan, but they are a little open. Has to be careful.
This time Michael Georgiou's turn to receive some good fortune. Caught that red much too thin. And look where it's finished. Could have gone anywhere.
Yeah, that safety shot was a horror show.
Again, Ronnie's trying to force Michael Georgiou to play a safety down this left-hand side of the table where it's heavily congested. Once again, Michael Georgiou's up to it.
Well, he should pot the red. It's all about avoiding the congestion.
Yes, but look at the pressure he's under here with the position of the reds, should he miss. Oh, he did well there. Oh, and a couple of rather nice kisses as well. From red and pink has left him in good position here. He needs to score something here, Michael Georgiou. Choice of pink or black. Just needs that one good positional shot to his next red, and he should be in business.
Cue ball needs to stop. Oh,
7.
an anywhere but there shot.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but that's just really bad luck to finish there. Really was. It's fractions away from a choice of balls.
Michael Georgiou, 7.
He looks dispirited.
One.
What a cultured shot that was. Before O'Sullivan gets into full flow, let me tell you, it's one each on the other table. Rob Milkins was in to lead Tom Ford 2-0, but he missed a very straightforward pink late on in the second frame. And Ford tidied up to equalise.
Five. Six. Eight.
Deserves to be on a red because that yellow was a beautifully punched shot, and there is a gap there, of course. The white will go past the pink.
9.
Now, if Ronnie pots this black, I just wonder if the black spot's occupied. Yes, it may have to go behind that red. Referee Ben Williams officiating here. Black belt, I'll have you know, in the field of karate.
Thank you.
Didn't know
16.
Yeah, he's also very proficient in other
17.
forms of martial arts as well.
22. 23.
Would be very handy for Ronnie should that red just above the black pot into the right corner, but I don't think it does.
29.
I'm just having to concentrate
30.
on the pink for now. Oh, again, he's inch perfect every time. A lovely angle here just to punch this cue ball through. Oh, but as he overhit that, played for the red, I think, to the right of the black and red.
36.
That would have made way for the top red above the black, but does it just go? Well, it did. My goodness.
37.
I'm not sure he played for that.
$43. 44.
This must be rather demoralising for Michael Georgiou. Hasn't done a lot in this match, but he has had the odd chance. But I don't think he's going to get another.
51.
After his lengthy layoff, though, just to repeat what I said this afternoon, he hasn't played competitive snooker, O'Sullivan, since the shootout in February. What a reintroduction.
$52.
Looks completely at ease.
58.
Formidable.
Indeed so, but he just needs this one good red to make the frame safe. Or virtually safe. He's 50 points ahead, still 59 remaining, so red and colour still required. This is a tricky little red he's faced with here.
$59.
The tariff on that shot was so high. To play it with the rest, with the cue ball and red so close together, and the pot itself was intrinsically difficult, that was tremendous. And essentially, although not numerically, essentially that was frame and match ball.
$65.
Now just a
66.
matter of whether he can conclude the match with a century. Playing well though, Dom, isn't he? Totally relaxed.
72.
Yes, a joy to watch as always.
73.
Look at the side on that. And of course he's now well and truly warmed up
80.
to take on Chris Wakelin in the group decider.
Frame of the match.
The break ends at 80. So does the contest. Runs of 116, 82 and 80. Ronnie O'Sullivan, silky and superb. He beats Michael Georgiou 3-0. Now it's the match that matters.